Hello again, YouTube viewers. It's me, and I'm coming at you this time. If you saw last week, you saw that there were some changes to the gun. In fact, I had put a handle on it, as you can see here. I got rid of the 45-degree offset rail and got this handle right here. And the reason that I had done that was because, you know, this is the 45-degree mounting bracket that was on the side, and when it's on the gun and I'm holding it like this and it's got the strap on it, the gun sits right in my chest, especially when I have the vest on with all the gear. It just sits right in my chest, and this thing just shoves both the scope and the flashlight into my chest the entire time, and it was just always awkward. I'd lift the gun up and the flashlight would catch my vest and everything like that. So I decided to go more typical for the gun. I wanted to get a more AR-15, more M4 look to it. So one of the things that was missing that the real gun has is the handle. So I added the handle, and then right after I got the handle, I really looked at it, and you guys were all treated to this little gem right here. I just sort of turned it over, and I realized. Oh no. Yeah, that's right, it's a Rap 4 handle. That stupid company has got its logo back on my gun. So, you know, I'm just gonna have to figure out, I'm just gonna have to get a Sharpie or something and get rid of it. Now, thankfully I did not actually buy it from Rap 4. I bought it from some guy on YouTube, or eBay, not YouTube, eBay, and got it for like 12 bucks, while Rap 4 wanted $26 for it, so I still won. Yeah, stupid logo on my gun, god damn it. Anyways, but anyway, what I got to in the end was that the big thing I wanted for the gun, and the biggest reason why I was getting the handle, was I wanted a new scope. I have always wanted a combo scope meaning that, you know, we got zoom down here and we got a red dot up here, and now of course Call of Duty's got that flip over hollow sight version. Is now the big rave, but this one was popular in like Battle LA, based on the Trigicon scopes that they were using in there with the little red dot sight on top. I always fell in love with that, so I wanted to find something very similar to it, and I started off looking at these all these airsoft scopes like this, the Elcan Spectre Doctor clone here, and an actual Trigicon clone. The thing is, you know, you pay like $150 for them, which is a lot better than the $6,000 that they are and everything. But what you get is, you know, they either only have 4x zoom. They don't have a lot of features or options. Yeah, sure, they work, they do stuff, but I just read a lot of bad reviews, and so then I came across this company, NC Star, and the thing is about them is, unlike the clones, I mean, they're actually a scope company. They're not trying. They're trying a little to copy the Trigicon, but they're unique enough on their own. They're not photorealistic like the airsoft players like. It doesn't look exactly like it, but it just said, hey, we can do that, and made the same idea. It's got the scope, and then it's got the red dot sight mounted on top. Now these are all bundled up, so let me take those off. That's a little annoying. I kind of miss my flip-up sights already, and I can't find any for this gun, or this scope. And then of course you got the little fake doctor scope, and it's kind of cool. It's got this orange reflectiveness to it that's kind of neat, but really, it's not a Doctor Red Dot scope, because those have a light sensor that when you take the cover off, they turn on. When you put the cover back on, they turn back off again. This one is just has an on and off switch. So let's just go ahead and turn that on. Anyways, and we'll talk a little bit more about the scope here in a second. But the other thing you might notice is different is the hopper. And the hopper is even different from the last video, because in the last video I said I got the slim, low-profile hopper, and that was getting rid of course, my favorite little ricochet hopper with the stealth lining. So that's now gone because it's a center mount. You can see hopper, so it sits half and half of it's sitting over the gun. So I needed something with an offset. You can see right there, like an offset that is, and that gives me room for the scope. But the downside was that, you know, I had to get rid of my favorite scope, and also this is a really cheap hopper. It holds 300 rounds. It's the Turbo T3. And I got this from Hustle Paintball. It's really nice that one of the biggest internet stores for paintball supplies is actually just down the street from me. So I was actually able to go there and take a look at the T2, T3, and the T4. T4 is 450 rounds, and that thing is just a blur. It's like the Hindenburgs floating above your gun the entire time. I mean, yeah. And then before I'd gotten this, I'd actually had for a little while on my gun the slimline hopper, but with that. And this, I can't handle. I can't handle having this. It's like a periscope sitting on top of your gun. I'm not shooting people with a gun. I'm shooting them with a submarine. I'd be behind a bunker and it'd be like do 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 do. I mean, it's obnoxious. It just stuck the hopper way up here, like, oh, hello, who's there? And I couldn't handle it. It was like the equivalent of going to your high school dance with your braces headgear on, or a scoliosis back brace. I mean, it's just embarrassing, and it didn't really fit right either. It came off really easily. If I had to say one plus about this thing, is that it actually allowed me to take my hopper off, because once you get these guys on here, you can see there's no clearance. There's no room for rotation or anything, so you're pretty much stuck with what you got on there. You can't change you have to take the whole handle off to get the hopper off. You gotta get the hopper off to get the scope off, so basically no matter what, you gotta take the whole handle off. But now the gun, as you can see, looks more AR-15, looks more M16, M4, whatever. It just has that look and all that. And so I was really excited, and now I've got this good scope on there to, you know, to go with it, that is actually in hopes to be pretty practical. And let's talk about the scope for a second. Now, before I get too much into that, you know that everything about this gun was supposed to be practical in the sense of it has options. It's got variety. You know, I'm supposed to sit down and be able to hold the gun at my side and really aim, but when I need to run around and move, let's flip the stock around and get that going. If I need to do anything crazy shots, you've got the Apex with all its little options, and you can flip the switch and everything. You know, you got the E-grip with the selector switch, so I can switch to full auto or single fire on the fly. All this stuff's supposed to be like, you know, settings for the gun so that you can change how you play. But that was the first thing that I thought of when I saw a combo sight. I said, okay, well, that's exactly what this is going to be good for. It's going to be good for options. Number one, once I get on the battlefield, and this guy comes with 3 to 9 times zoom, which is pretty good for a cheap little scope. That means I can really scout the field and see what's coming and see where everybody is. And then once I've got my locations on them, I might be able to snipe them, but I highly doubt it with a paintball gun. This thing won't be accurate at all. But what I can do, while I'm still very far away, pick my battles, kind of decide where everybody is, and then use the red dot sight to kind of fine-tune and hone in my shots at a closer range once I've gotten to them. So, you know, you got scouting, and then you got tactical. So I thought that was really cool. The downside about it is you do kind of have to be right up on it before the scope really works all that great. Outside of that, once you get away from it, it's really hard to see. Anyways, the red dot sight on the top, though, that's the one thing I'm a little worried about the most, actually. The scope looks beautiful. I mean, I'm very impressed for such a cheap price, that it's so clear and it's so well zoomed in. And it does have some weird features I'll get into in a second. And it has all the stuff, the bullet drop, everything. This thing is made to be a real gun scope for like a real AR-15. But since it's so cheap, it doesn't hold up to much, so most people give it bad reviews. But then you put it on a paintball gun and it's way above what you need, so it's really good in that sense. The red dot sight though, however, my big problem with it is every time I look through it, it looks like it's aiming up. Like I don't feel at all it's aiming where I'm pointing the gun. And that is, you know, obviously going to come out whether or not that's true when I start shooting the thing in a range or something and trying to fine-tune the stuff. But really, I mean, the thing looked like it was aiming up. I twisted the little Allen wrench to get the dot down further and further and further, and I hit its peak and it still feels like it's aiming up. So my only other option is up higher. So, you know, it's gonna be hard to say how that's gonna play out. But what's cool about this too is that this is just a Picatinny mount, Picatinny rail mount that's bolted to this scope, and that means I can actually take this guy. I can take the whole thing off and just have the scope, but I can take this guy off and replace him with anything. I can replace him with a better red dot sight, a bigger red dot sight, a smaller red dot sight, an actual Dr. red dot sight. Hell, I can take my old scope with its flip-up caps that I miss so dearly and mount that on there and just be that sort of ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, I can do that though. That's whatever. So I mean, that's cool too. I just kind of like the look of it, and like I said, I like the little orange reflectiveness to it. That's kind of neat. It's kind of like the way that this one was red reflective. I don't know if you can see it, but anyways, so yeah, the red dot sight I highly doubt is going to be very useful on a battlefield. And you know me, everything on my gun has to be useful on a battlefield, right? Oh well. So yeah, the scope though, like I said, is actually really nice. It's very good zoom. I mean, very clear. That's clear until I get a paintball in there. But you know, for the time being, it's very clear. I like to spy on the neighbors, and that's just what they love, to see their neighbor aiming a scope through my window at them. But it still is really clear and really nice. And yes, it does go all the way up to 9x zoom, and I'll show you at the end here a little video. The weird thing about it is that the scope actually has another feature, and this is such an airsoft thing. I think the red dot sight on the top is good. I think the scope is good, but you know, you see it all the time when you get into the airsofts or these mil-sim kind of guns and all that stuff, where you see like one of the dials on the top is secretly a laser pointer, and then there's a flashlight sticking out the side, which is some cheap LED flashlight that, you know, it's just there so you could say you have a flashlight. It's not there to be practical. Oh, and by the way, the flashlight still is on this gun, as you can see right here. It's actually in a better spot. So even though the gun looks smaller and more streamlined, it's actually everything that was on it before is still on it. But going back to what I was saying, they always have like some weird tactical additional thing that really is impractical and doesn't need to be there, but it's there because somebody who's naive and doesn't know anything about scopes and guns and all that stuff would be like, oh my god, that's cool! And that is that it has illuminated crosshairs. What happens is you can actually turn a little dial here, and you can't really see it from there, but we'll get a close up here in a second. It lights up. Yeah, you can't see it, but it lights up the crosshairs, both either green or bright red. And it looks cool. It does. Kind of looks like you're in some sort of sci-fi movie and you got one of those like X-ray scopes or whatever, but realistically I kind of stopped and went, why does it do that? Because the only time I could imagine wanting to illuminate the crosshairs is if you're doing it at night or in the dark, and we can also throw out the whole flashlight issue there, but when I look through the scope at night or at the dark, all I see is black. So you illuminate the crosshairs, great. I'm still I can see the crosshairs over a black surface. I don't, yeah, see, my dog doesn't get it either, you hear? I just don't really see the point in that outside of being a cool factor. Like, look at what we can do. Oh, look what I can do. So, yeah. But let me get you a good view here. Let me show you what I'm talking about so that you can actually understand it and know what I mean. Let's go ahead and take this right on off. So as you can see right on through the scope if it wasn't mirrored, and you can see the trees. So that's pretty good. You see the house across the way. Now again, like I said, you have to really get up on the scope before it works, but now you can really see what I'm talking about. And you know, I like I said, I'm very impressed. It's very, very well done for the money. You know, you're talking about 160 or so. And but then we get into this, and let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put this right up here. I'm gonna turn this little dial, and you're gonna see it flash for a second, and then it's gonna go off because it's very finicky. And there you go. Green illuminated crosshairs. Again, why? I mean, it's like, look right there. I can't even see that they're green on the big white background of my neighbor's wall. So why does it turn green? I just don't get it. Unless you're on black like that and you can't see anything. So yeah, it's there. It does it. Let me turn it to red real quick. Show you that for you. You got this little dial with several settings on it, and it's of course not easy to turn, so that even makes it even more impractical. It doesn't even sit right. So there you go. I kind of like that a little bit better, but it's just, I think it's just supposed to pretend like you're looking through a night vision scope, you know, or something, not be anything more than that. There you go. That's a really good shot of it. But as you can see, the image is really clear. The zoom is really clear. You can see my neighbor's porch and everything like that. And then that's at 9 times already, 9 times zoom. So let's turn it all the way down to 3 so you can get there. And there's quite a difference. You see, the big porch that we were just aiming at and we could see on it is now pretty far away. So I mean, that's like I said, that's pretty impressive for you know how much money this thing was, and you can really get a good look at it. And then you go up here and you got. Here we go again with the whole finding the red dot site. And oh, it would help if I turned it on. That's usually key. So there we go. It's in there somewhere. Woo, woo. Eventually I'll find it. Oh, there it is. That's the other thing I don't like about this is there is no brightness setting on the red dot that I can find. That's about as bright as you can get it. So as you can see, not the easiest thing to see against the white background of the bright sky. Now that's partially my camera, but I myself have had problems seeing it. But there you go. There's the red dot site in all its meh glory. So yeah. But there you go. There's the NC Star Mark III or the Mark III, depending on where you, you know, how you shop for it. And you know, that'll get you, you know, a pretty decent scope for your paintball gun if you really want to try to snipe people and all that. And it's pretty clear. So yeah, I like it. And so there you go. Thanks for watching, and if you have any more questions, feel free to hit me up below.